automate a lot of those everyday tasks, letting your team stay strategic. NetSuite helps you know what is costing you and how to pivot fast. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/Keb. netsuite.com/Keb.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome on into Talkback here on a Wednesday morning. I'm Al Quartermont along with Trish LaLaw. Glad to have you with us, and we have our special guest with us right now.
Good morning.
Stephen Maxwell, officially joining the show on Monday, but giving a little preview of things to come. As man, you were out and about yesterday. You covered several stories.
So awesome. Yeah, got about 4 stories, and it was fun. I got my little new camera out. I can post a picture.
Where was that when you worked for me at KLB?
That's pretty good, right?
See, it's like a government situation. Like, if you just let me get by, I'm just not going to put in the work.
And we're going to get him on the camera here if you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube.
What's cool is that you have kind of a setup now where you can just kind of go out and just do these little, kind of like quick hit stories. But it's great because you're right on top of things that are going on. Number one, I'm sad to see Logan's going out of business.
My honey rolls.
You know I love eating at Logan's.
You did. You would always go there above other places.
I didn't know that.
I mean, Texas Roadhouse is great, but it's kind of like Yogi Berra. No one goes anymore because it's too crowded.
That's the thing. I do not go anywhere where I have to wait in line. Yeah. Like, this is why I never used to go to Chick-fil-A when it was round, around the building 3 times. And all
I
that.
know. I told my wife Sunday, I was like, she was like, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. I was like, what time is it? She goes, it was like 12:30. It's like, there's no way.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to get anywhere close to there. Yeah. But we were actually talking about that the other day. It'd been so long since I've been to Logan's. I was like, oh, wow, I wonder who goes there anymore. Well, nobody.
Yeah. I think they had issues with lunchtime customers. Really? Because on the weekends they'd be packed. At least when I was here, but just consistency, I think.
Yeah. So that was one story. Then I guess on the Pineville Expressway, they're going to be changing the speed limit.
Well, we had Joe Bishop in here, the mayor, and he was talking about, we're waiting to get the speed limit raised a little bit because everyone speeds down that Pineville Expressway. And I was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I called DOTD. They said, well, we put in the paperwork. We're waiting for Baton Rouge to give us some okays on that, but it looks promising to raise it to 60. So everyone's going to go 75.
That's right. That's what exactly.
Whatever you raise it to.
That is one place in Central Louisiana I've never gotten a ticket, surprisingly.
Really?
Everywhere else, from here down 165. So.
Yeah, especially when you would make those trips home to Allen Parish.
Oh yeah, Woodworth knows me well.
I was just gonna ask about Woodworth, since that would be my home.
I'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Thank you for helping us pay for some of those really nice street signs.
That town hall, that's Maxwell
that was funded by Max right there.
We need to white balance your camera here on the live stream.
Well, this is the camera. This is this camera.
He's yellow.
He is a little yellow, but
I know Nathan
uses
his phone. I don't know how to do that.
So. Well, he can do that because it has to do with the sound, and because of his I have to use my computer. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not as.
No, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you've only got a couple days.
I know. Day 3 today. Two of you. So, I know.
It's the 2 of you, but I'm so excited about this. Like watching, I told you that when you came in. Like watching all of that yesterday, as you're popping up everywhere doing that live feed. Like, this is amazing for KSYL, for Senlaw Broadcasting. And it is such an opportunity because where else can we turn to get real news coverage? I mean, news coverage of things.
And the world is changing. The media consumption is changing. And I think a lot of us are seeing that. And I'm glad Senlaw Broadcasting wants to invest in that. And it's an amazing opportunity. And we're not going to let it go by. So
that's right.
We're going full steam ahead.
Max and Al are back together.
How about that?
I was like, for 15 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you hear yesterday, Al, I related to how Mai Tai I got to call him Max back then, but our tie to each other.
Uh-oh. I know where this is going.
Oh, yeah, the Dancing with the Sin-Law Stars thing.
Yeah. I tried to find the picture because I wanted to pull the picture up and post the picture. But, trying to search through your pictures these days, the iPhone update and what it did to photos is really, really annoying.
That's why I have a Galaxy.
Yeah, well, I'm an Apple user through and through here, so it doesn't work for me. But I was trying to do a search to find it without having to scroll back. Because how many years ago was that?
Oh, it was like 6, 7, pre-COVID.
It was pre-COVID, you're right.
Yeah, I have the picture somewhere. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I do too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got to be there for all of his practices.
Oh, they were so bad. I felt my partner was Christy, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I almost didn't want to show up. I just didn't want to hurt her feelings.
And back then, I was the one doing the little live feed and the social media things and all that kind of stuff. So, maybe he learned a little bit from me.
I did.
Just saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've got a great show for you coming up here today on Talkback. Coming up in a few minutes at 7:30, we'll have a couple of guests in here with us. From SunGas Renewables, David Lamont Sr., who's the Vice President, and Dan LeFevers, who is the Vice President of Governmental Affairs. We know that we had the meeting Monday over at Philadelphia Baptist Church talking about carbon capture and sequestration. And obviously the SunGas project does have some connection to that issue because one of the byproducts of the manufacturing process will be CO2, which would be piped away from the plants and eventually put into the ground. So this is creating some concern for sure among a lot of people in central Louisiana. So we just want to talk more about that and kind of give you a bigger picture of the SunGas project. So that'll be coming up. And then at 8:05, Greg Walker will join us. So I don't know if we had Greg into the mix here this morning.
I was going to say.
What that's going to be like. But I know one thing Greg is excited about.
Well,
have you seen what's coming over to the Rapides Parish Coliseum in a few weeks?
I have not, but I was going to say, if you have the same thing in common with he and Al, then, this is the segment where I just sit back and sit here.
Is it wrestling? Yeah, I know. No, not me.
He's not a wrestler guy. But
I went to one with Al one time, like an amateur one. It was hilarious.
Greg keeps inviting me, and I happen to keep being busy on the days that he invites me to come along with him, so I've never, ever been before. So.
It's like the automatic "I'm busy" response. I got it. Last time I saw Greg, he gave me a cease and desist order. I'm not joking.
He did?
What were you investigating?
Well, I was here at Sin-Law Broadcast, a joke, and Shy and Kathy used to joke all the time that they were the better radio show and everything.
That,
when I was on Q93.
Yeah.
And he sent me like a fake cease and desist, like leave him alone. And it was
I actually remember that because I think that was when I still did my real estate segment over there with Shy and Kathy.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I started doing some of this stuff, was I had like a once a week real estate segment over there.
So the event that I'm referring to, it's coming up Saturday, July 26th. So make sure you guys mark your calendar.
Actually, I am to see that day. I know it already because it's Hackers Cup that day.
Oh, you're going to miss out.
What is it?
Micromania Pro Wrestling.
It's also my son's birthday on July 26th, by the way. So
what's that?
It's my son's birthday that day too. So that evening we'll be doing something for his birthday. I don't know that that's probably on his agenda.
Look,
it
is. Back when we were not politically correct,
right.
We called it midget wrestling.
That's what I was going to ask.
But now it's called Micromania Pro Wrestling. But there's a bonus.
Who knows? He might get a kick out of that.
Also performing that night will be Mini Kiss.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
It's a rock band comprised of little people that dress up like Kiss. I've never gotten to see Kiss, and I've always wanted to, so this could be my chance.
So is it a doctor love? Is it like nurse practitioner love? This is my first day on air. Y'all going to get me in trouble.
What a great event.
I want to see the picture. You're going to have to share the picture.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm picturing the picture right now.
I just want to go with Greg to watch him laugh.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm actually very interested in that. I'm going to clear my calendar.
I'm telling you. It's going to be a huge event. So, in one way. In other ways, not.
There's so many jokes that could be made that are not politically correct.
I saw it was a video that was going around one of the social medias a while back, but it was, how everybody does these baby announcements, gender reveals.
Right.
And it was a gender reveal. They had a wrestling ring set up in their backyard.
Oh, with the babies?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was one guy dressed like in pink and one guy in blue. And one was a full-size wrestler and the other was the midget wrestler.
Oh,
and the midget wrestler wins. So, he was the color of the baby.
I saw the two babies in like the big blow-up outfits.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they boxed for like 20 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a whole performance.
Yeah. So I don't know how the Coliseum stumbled onto this particular event, but I feel like it's got a chance to be really huge.
I feel like the line should be down Coliseum. This is awesome.
I know. So, I mean, you had me at Micromania.
Right.
Now you're throwing in Mini Kiss.
I'm more interested in Mini Kiss.
I am much more interested in Mini Kiss. Yes, absolutely.
You got rodeos and mini wrestling.
All right, Greg's gonna have to get a box for that.
I guess the tongue's not quite as long.
I think they're calling me in the back here. Gotta go.
I know our guests are already here.
I know we're having like the most serious potential topic.
We actually have a very serious topic coming up. Those guys I hope they're not listening to us out there.
But if Steven knows one thing about me, it is this: that I can have a very dark sense of humor.
Well, you kind of have to in the business.
In the news business, it makes you have one. So,
but it's tastefully dark.
Yeah. It's important to be tasteful.
We try.
Striving for that. So, all right. Well, we're going to have a fun show today. One way or another. And
I'm out of here in a day. So I don't have to worry about how
we got to bring it back.
Correct,
no, we got to
bring
it back.
Yeah.
You know?
We're having too much fun.
I mean, you just can't make that kind of stuff up, though. Mini Kiss. I mean.
Yeah.
That's not where I thought we were going with this.
I know.
I was ready to wish Joe Montana a happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I had the life-size Joe Montana poster on the ceiling of my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Really?
That's something I would never have in my house. He's a 49er, right?
Yeah. He is a 49er.
Ugh.
It's pass that beat the Cowboys, the catch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dwight Clark.
Yep. That's right.
That's back when they could actually win his Super Bowl.
Fan.
Wow.
He is 69 years old today.
Oh, my goodness.
So you know, Peter Dinklage has a birthday today.
The best is Elf.
Oh, my God.
When he's like, he's an angry elf.
Hey, really greatest character on Game of Thrones, by far. He was so good.
So, just letting everybody know that.
How appropriate. All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with the gentleman from SunGas Renewables right here on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. U.S. data centers are driving up the demand for power, and fast. The official forecast for electricity consumption next year has almost doubled in the past month. The U.S. Energy Department says that total power usage in the U.S. is expected to climb 2.15% in 2026, spurred largely by a 5% spike from commercial users because of the expansion of data centers. That's up sharply from only a month ago. Threads is testing a new messaging feature for users to interact privately on the service. Private messages on the Meta platform's site will be accessible within the app and represent a fourth distinct inbox that Meta's user can access. This type of private message can already be sent on Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp. Futures are slipping this morning. Investors are waiting on the Consumer Price Index for May. Stocks closed higher yesterday. Gains ranged from 0.25% to around 2/3 of 1%. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
This summer, the Rappies Parish Library is turning up the volume and getting all jazzed up. Whether you're a cool cat or a little bebopper, there's something happening every week at your local branch. Live performances, hands-on crafts, cool programs for kids, teens, and adults. And yes, plenty of reading, too. Shake off that summer slump and keep the whole family learning and creating and having a blast. Read what you love, track your minutes, and win prizes. Join the fun and get all jazzed up this summer at RPL.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
FM, KSYO.
All right, we are back. Al Quartermont and Trish LaLove with you this morning.
I know. I know.
Sometimes it happens that way.
It happens that way.
I'm very pleased to have with us in the studio a couple of gentlemen representing SunGas Renewables. David Lamont is the Senior Vice President. Dan LeFevers is the Vice President of Government Affairs. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you both for being with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. And the phones are already lit up. And I understand probably why a lot of people are probably calling at this point. So we had the announcement of SunGas a while back. I think a lot of people are very excited for this project from the standpoint of Central Louisiana has really needed a good win when it comes to manufacturing and that sort of thing. To see the former IP plant get a chance to be renewed and repurposed, I think is very exciting, the chance for more jobs to come. But it seems like the big issue that has really popped up just in the last couple of weeks has been the issue of carbon capture and sequestration in connection with this project. So I guess I just want to, we had your CEO on last week and he gave a tremendous overview of the project, but let's talk about the CCS aspect of this. I was doing some research, and part of the reason why SunGas has the model that it does is that it can be a net negative impact from a carbon standpoint. So that's where the capture and sequestration comes in, correct?
Yes. How shall I put it? Our clients who will be selling the fuel to require a certain attribute with the fuel, and for us to have that attribute, sequestration is absolutely necessary, and so that's why we're doing it. Again, we are not in the business of sequestration.
Right.
We will be having a pipe that comes out of our facility. It will be picked up by another pipe, and a carbon sequestration solutions provider will be taking that and putting it underground wherever they're going to take it. Right now, it looks like it'll be this on the hub. So we are not in the business of carbon sequestration. We are not doing carbon sequestration at the site. We're not in that business.
Right.
And it's necessary for us to have a fuel that can be sold into the global market. For this will be mostly shipping.
Now, when you were selecting the Beaver Lake site, as it's called, obviously there are a lot of factors, one of which I'm sure is the Red River and the chance to potentially have a port, all of the forests that we have around here and the forest industry, of which the byproduct, wood chips and things like that, or the thinning of forests, taking those trees and using them for your manufacturing process. But was the factor of the state potentially doing capture and sequestration, how much did that factor into the decision to locate here as well?
Yeah, Al, that was a big part of the site selection. Louisiana has been a leader in the carbon capture space, both regulatory wise, and of course the geology is really, really good. So that was a really important part of picking the Beaver Lake site, along with the things you just mentioned on the logistics of the river, the forests. With the loss of the demand, with the mill shutting down, we're bringing back in sort of about the same amount of demand that was there before. And that's going to be really supportive of the local forestry industry as well.
Are you guys surprised right now at some of the blowback that has started to kind of percolate over this issue, including the meeting Monday?
Yes.
Okay. Honest answer there. So, well, why are you surprised then?
Well, I mean, we've been watching, right? And so a lot of the activity had come out of Vernon Parish, and if you had just been paying attention, we knew all the time, that we were going to have sequestration. It's just that, and we knew that we were going to use this on the hub, and all of the activity over here had been very positive. In fact, I just want to make one point. While there is negative activity going on, from our point of view, we've been here for 3 days. 95% of the response of everybody we've talked to has been positive. There is way more positive reaction to our project than negative. It's just the negative is louder.
Is some of that fear of the unknown that people are hearing about CCS and just the concerns over long term what that could be?
I don't want to characterize it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's not, again, we're not in the business of carbon sequestration.
Right.
So I don't know. I do know. I mean, we were at the meeting on Monday. And people were talking about eminent domain and us taking their land and forcing pipelines in their property. And, we're standing there like we're confined in the plant. We're not.
Right.
We're not interested in other land. We're not.
Yeah.
So it was a little shocking to us for sure. We were very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And people have the right to have views on carbon sequestration. There's nothing wrong with people having views, and we want to hear from people and talk to us about our project. We're very open. There's a lot of conversation too about us being secret. We haven't been secret. I mean, if you Googled our project, there was 100 things about it.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
We have not been secret in any way. And we're not secret now. You have a question here, you see.
Right.
You can give anybody my email you want, and they can email me. I don't, we're not hiding anything.
I do sense that maybe some of it is, or people are finding more. You've mentioned it a couple of times. The CENLA hub. This is the CPS, Central Louisiana Regional Carbon Storage Hub, which has the potential to be one of the largest onshore deep underground storage centers in the U.S. That's not your project. This is something that's already going on. It's something that you would utilize as part of your process, but this is a whole other thing.
And I think that's some of the misinformation. I think that's what's, like you said, so much of it is misinformation out there that this is not your business. Your business just utilizes this. But I know, I'm in the real estate world. So when you talk about all the positives about your project and you guys coming here, I'm a part of the positives on all of that. But I think that's where a lot of people right now, it is that they don't understand, and the information that they're getting is not always reliable information, and they just don't know. And I think, unfortunately, you guys are getting the blowback from a lot of that.
Yeah, there is a balance we've had to follow, as we've developed the project. We have to balance sort of being super positive and enthusiastic about it and not over-promising. And so it's great that we're now in the final phase of development before bringing the project into construction. That's an exciting chapter for the development of the Beaver Lake project. And so as a result of that, you're going to see a few things. We're going to be a lot more active in the community. We're in the process of opening an office here. And that's all because we're now, with that last phase of development underway, getting more confident that the project's actually going to happen.
And in my world, that's what matters. That's what we keep keeping track of, is like, okay, what is the next phase? What is the next phase, to where we know, okay, this really is going to, bring more employment here, more people, buying houses and doing all of those things that help the economy grow right here.
Absolutely. And just to put another point on what David said, the last thing we wanted to happen is get everybody, it's a very complex effort to put together a $2.5 billion project. It's not an easy thing to do.
Sure.
And I'm the governmental affairs guy. I didn't really do that much. But, David and his team, and they work so hard, and there's so many aspects to it. The last, so you have a lot of gates, right? You got to get through, and you want them to be successful, but there's so many. And so the last thing we wanted to do is be another story, because we know there's been some stories here about companies that have come in and said, oh, we're going to build this plant. And
SunDrop was one of the companies.
Right, which makes it very,
yeah, I know. We hear about SunDrop. And so we were very concerned. We don't want to do that, right? And David's right. As we've gotten closer to being more confident this project is going to happen, now we feel is the right time to really start our community engagement, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Excellent. Speaking of community engagement, we have our phones lit up right now. We're going to take a break, and both David and Dan said that they're willing to take calls, so we'll do that when we come back here on Talkback.
KSYL. Hello, I'm Dr. Noah Miller. I'm the new guy at the clinics. I'm a family medicine physician from Vedrine, Louisiana, and I'm now accepting new patients. Call today for an appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care, on-site lab and x-ray as well. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics. 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or reach us online at theclinics.us. Looking forward to seeing you at the clinics.
Imagine walking where land meets sea, where every step echoes centuries of stories. This is the Portuguese coastal Camino de Santiago. From Cortez Riverside Charm to Galicia's Wild Coast, follow a path through fishing villages, ancient chapels, and windswept beaches. Walk the Camino. Feel the call. It's more than a journey, it's a transformation. Join our small group, escorted by Christine and Father Joy in May of 2026. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architects.
So, June has finally arrived, and you don't have to have a thermometer to tell it's hot outside. Keep your home comfortable all year long with Southern Air. Now through the end of June, get a comprehensive AC tune-up for only $69 per system. Book your appointment by the 30th to lock in this special offer. Don't wait until your cooling system fails on the hottest day of the year. Act now, let us bear it. Visit southernairnow.com or call 318-777-5555.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. TalkBack.
All right, and we are back. David Lamont, Senior Vice President of SunGas Renewables, Dan LeFevers, Vice President of Government Affairs, and we have the calls coming in on the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. Let's go to the phones. Good morning, you're on TalkBack.
Hey, I don't mean to call in and interrupt your call about the gas. I just want to say, Trish, I'm going to miss you. I've enjoyed your input, your knowledge, and I hope you've heard the best. And I hope they get you back as a guest real soon.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah,
wow.
Thank you so much for that.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to another call. Good morning, you're on TalkBack.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I'm gonna miss you too, Trish.
Thanks,
sir. Thank you for letting me call in. Through the 60s and 70s, we were the dumping ground for lots of toxic waste, and now at St. Jude, there's a whole wing just for our Louisiana children and cancer. So we distrust a lot of these new things. Biodiesel is settled science. We understand that. This carbon capture stuff, I used to be in favor of it. Once I learned about it, I'm not. And that's the two groups of people that I see as I drive around. So let me ask you this plainly. If we are able to kill the carbon capture, will you still build your biodiesel plant and just let the carbon go into the air, or truck it out to the middle of the ocean and let it go out there, or do something alternative? Or is this a do or die?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I would ask you to learn more about carbon sequestration. I think there's a lot of experts that maybe you haven't heard from. So please do more research. And like I said, I think there'll be some people on the show coming up. First of all, remember that carbon is what is in the atmosphere, right? It's what the trees breathe. It's in your Coca-Cola. It's caustic. We have 217 miles of carbon CO2 pipelines in Louisiana. It's been used for EOR, enhanced oil recovery for, decades. So this is not something that's new. Permanent sequestration is different, but it's over a mile down. It's got cap rock. Again, we are not the expert, but I ask people to do more research than they've done, or if they think they're experts now, learn more. And to answer the question directly, we need the attribute of CO2 sequestration for the market to buy our fuel and for it to be valuable in the International Maritime Organization has mandated a step down of carbon intensity for shipping in the globe. And so the need for these fuels is going to continue to grow, as well as in the aviation world. Sustainable aviation fuel, particularly in Europe and other places, is being mandated by other countries. The demand for these fuels is only going to grow over the next 20 years. We can choose to make them here, and I believe we can make them safely, and that our sequestration providers will do a good job, or these plants will be built likely in China to take this market. That will be a growing market over the next 3 decades. So we do need the opportunity to sequester our carbon to be competitive, and for our investors to give us the money to be competitive in this market.
And as we were talking about before break, it's actually, you guys are not the ones doing it. It's actually the Cenla hub that you talk about is being run by a company called Capture Point Solution. And that's who you're saying hopefully we'll have on to talk with you guys. And they'll be the ones that can answer more of those detailed questions. Because, yeah, I think a large part of it is people don't understand how it works, what is already being done, and what is the difference of this, and having the company that's actually doing it answer all those questions, I think will be something that is of value.
I know, excuse me, when Mr. Rigdon was on last week, he made the point that it's all about the carbon intensity score. And the lower the score, the more valuable the product is. So the notion of just letting it go into that atmosphere on the world market would essentially make your product, I don't know if worthless is the right term, but
not competitive.
Right,
not uncompetitive. Yeah.
Right.
And remember, we're asking people to put $2.5 billion into the project.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that if we're not competitive.
Understandable. At the same time, I can see where people would say, okay, this is a fuel that Europe is demanding or the international markets are demanding. Why should Louisiana have to be, again, quote, kind of the dumping ground for the byproduct? And I can see that point too.
I understand the view. I don't agree with it.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's a dumping ground. It's CO2 and it's being stored safely underground, a long ways down, over a mile and a half or over a mile. So again, the experts will be on. They'll talk more about it.
Sure.
I don't want to get into that.
Absolutely.
But I know David knows about the long pipeline that exists today for EOR. How long is that pipeline that takes the natural CO2 for EOR? Is it in Texas?
I don't know all the specific details. I know that natural CO2 has been moved in pipelines for a long time, in long pipelines, and that's got a long, safe, historical track record.
Right. Okay, let's take some more calls. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Is this me?
Yes, ma'am, it's you.
Oh, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. And so I'm understanding the question that if it weren't for this, the carbon aspect of it, that you would not put your company in. First of all, I just want to say that as far as I know, everybody in Central Louisiana does welcome oil and gas and SunGas, and it only has 100% to do with this. So let me ask my question. So the only reason that this company is even building here is because they're going to receive the federal and European tax credits, correct? So the company on its own can't stand. They're going to be getting so much money from the tax credits for this project. They couldn't build it otherwise. Is that what you're saying? It wouldn't be profitable otherwise.
I don't know about tax credits. I was just talking about the attributes of the fuel. So we need those attributes of the fuel so that the global market, we will be competitive in the global market for the customers that will be buying it. I don't want to speak for Capture Point. Again, we don't work for Capture Point.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Capture Point, but and you are in no way affiliated with that program, Capture Point, correct?
They're our service provider.
So you are working in conjunction with them as well.
Well, if imagine you owned a building and you had a window washing company and you hired them. I don't know how you would describe that. This company will be taking our CO2. We're providing about 50% of the CO2 from the wood to them to take away as our carbon sequestration service provider. So that's the relationship. It's a contractual relationship.
Well, I am glad that SunGas is going to come on in and do some public meetings, because I know that public meeting was pulled together in about 10 days, and it obviously shows you that there is community need for knowledge in this. And so real happy to see that. And also just to put out there again that oil and gas is not a problem. The problem is putting things under our ground that they do not have enough knowledge as to what it will, how it could affect our water, how it could affect our natural resources. Louisiana is chock full of natural resources. And this is not a wealthy community, that we do need the jobs and welcome the jobs. But, it's just a matter of what we're willing to give up for that.
Okay. Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate it. Did you guys want to respond to that or go to the next caller? All right, next caller. All right, good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, yeah, I've heard a lot of people concerned about eminent domain. Could you address that?
Yeah, they actually did refer to it a little bit earlier, but go ahead and repeat what you guys said.
Well, we will not be engaged in any eminent domain activity. Again, our plant is enclosed in the same size property as the original property where the IP facility is. So eminent domain is not an issue or in context for our plant. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, as Robert mentioned last week, our land arrangements for the project are already all in place and set up, and we have our agreements.
Again, I think this might be related to pipeline issues with different companies.
Different company, different, yeah. And basically, I mean, for you guys, it's kind of like it's just like we get our utilities from the utility companies. That is a service provider to you.
How much will the methanol that you produce be used in America, or is this just strictly for international purposes?
It'll be in the global market. The U.S. is one part of that global market. So there will be fueling operations on the Gulf Coast. That's one reason we like this site, is because we could easily move the product down the Red River to ports on the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely.
And from there, some of it will also be exported.
Okay, great. Let's go to another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Well, so, you ever drank the water of Beaumont, Texas?
Did I ever drink the water in Beaumont? I think I stayed there one time. I don't remember the water there.
It's pretty bad. Another thing, too, is the federal government, a couple of years down the road, federal government pulls funding for this. What's going to happen to all those?
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
We plan to move forward with our project, and we're getting our ducks in a row. I don't know what to say about.
Now, this is meant to be, I think I read or heard, was it you maybe that said at the conference you were at in D.C., is this a 30-year project? Is that right?
I probably shouldn't have used that. I was trying to give an example.
Okay.
We're going to be here 30, 50. I don't know how long the plant will run. I mean, we plan to be part of the community for half a century, and we hope that your descendants will work there. And, we're serious about this. This isn't something that we take lightly, and we want to be part of the community. We want to create jobs. We want to be part of the community as far as helping, charities and other things in the community. And we're just starting that process now. So that's why we're moving an office here, and we're looking at developing an engagement plan with the community and community organizations here in Pineville and Alexandria. And so we want to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. As we've been talking about, this is an area that needs the jobs for sure. I think we
need that influx into the economy here, you know?
Right.
And so for that, it is such a positive thing. And yeah, to have a new community partner out there that is ready to inject all of that into the community. Maybe that's the wrong word for me to use in this.
There you go.
But that should be seen for all those positives.
Yeah, thank you guys both for coming in today. We're just about out of time. We certainly would invite you to come back at any point, even if we want to do a whole hour, because we still have all the phones lit up. So obviously there's a lot of interest, a lot of questions. Any final words you guys want to leave with us here this morning?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say it's clear that the community needs to hear more from us. We're all for that, and we're going to be ramping up our efforts in that.
All right, very good. That is David Lamont, Senior Vice President of SunGas Renewables. Also, Daniel LeFevers, the Vice President of Governmental Affairs. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming in today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we're back with more here after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The cost of air travel is more than just the ticket price. It's also fuel, meals, lodging, parking, and time. Recalculating. The more we fly AEX, the better our chances of bringing back flights to Houston and Charlotte. Support AEX and help our community grow. Find your true cost at local.flyaex.org.
Did you know that 71% of all licensed real estate agents did not sell a single property in 2024? Hi, this is Trish Lala. When it's time to make the largest financial decision of your life, buying or selling a home, what's happening in the market really matters. The good news is you actually can still come out ahead if you place your trust in an agency with decades of experience handling all of those ups and downs. When experience matters, we're here for you. The Trish Lala Group,
Success is about momentum. For over 20 years, Kinetics has been moving businesses forward with cutting-edge IT, cybersecurity, and marketing solutions while keeping them secure, innovative, and competitive. We power progress with next-gen business technology and marketing solutions designed to keep your business ahead of the competition. Need seamless IT, a bold new brand, a strategy built for what's next? Don't get left behind. Move forward with Kinetics. Visit kbisp.com and take the next step today.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, here we go. We're back. We're talking with the guys as they're leaving the studio. And oops. Yeah, we're back, Trish. So,
we're back, really. Hang on.
Trying to get our live stream back up. All right, we got some more calls coming in. Let's go ahead and take those. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning. I appreciate you having those guys on. I listened to them pretty intently. And, when it came to the question about feasibility, he his product without government assistance. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. We appreciate all the calls for both those two gentlemen and for us. We're going to continue the conversation on the other side of the break, so if any of you want to hold who are on the line right now, we'll be happy to do that. I say the break, top of the hour news.
You coming up listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3 Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Breaking news from the White House, where President Trump has just announced the U.S. has reached a trade deal with China. Correspondent Michael Wallace has the details.
Trump posted on social media the U.S. will get magnets and rare earth minerals from China. The U.S. will allow Chinese students to use its colleges and universities. Trump also announced tariffs on Chinese goods will be set at 55%, while China's tariffs on American products will be 10%. He said the deal is subject to the final approval of himself and Chinese President Xi. Trump declared the relationship with China is excellent, adding an exclamation point. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Inflation up a touch last month thanks to higher food prices, but at 0.1%, it was less than analysts expected. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger takes a look at the bigger picture.
The annual inflation rate was up by 2.4%, just up slightly from the previous month. And the core rate, that's the one that removes food and energy, was also up a little bit year over year. The core rate up 2.9%.
The new numbers are still stubbornly above the Fed's 2% target. That makes it less likely the central bank will comply with the president's demands to cut interest rates. An overnight curfew has just been lifted in a small portion of Los Angeles, where demonstrators have been protesting federal immigration raids. CBS's Elise Preston is there.
As soon as that curfew took effect, officers began enforcing it. Officers on horseback started riding around down the downtown district, trying to get people to clear the streets, and people were immediately arrested.
Those downtown streets were quiet overnight. The protests, though, have spread from Denver to Chicago, Atlanta, and New York. Odyssey's Glenn Schuck.
Demonstrations here in Lower Manhattan mostly peaceful until around nightfall. Then it turned into clashes with police, cops in riot gear, and a lot of pushing and shoving. The NYPD telling us at least 80 arrests were made. This man an immigrant from Mexico.
This is way bigger than undocumented or documented. Everybody needs to be out here fighting this authoritarianism.
Elon Musk blinks in his blistering breakup with President Trump. The Tesla chief posted to X this morning he has regrets and he went too far. But Mr. Trump has said he has no interest in repairing the relationship. The nation's largest Protestant denomination makes it official.
Southern Baptists have overwhelmingly endorsed a ban on same-sex marriage. Their resolution also looks to reverse the Supreme Court's precedent legalizing it nationwide as it approaches its 10-year anniversary.
CBS's Matt Piper reporting. Dow futures have reversed. They are now up 92. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, boy.
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Sean Burns. LSU has had a secret weapon in its run to Omaha and the College World Series. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
His name is Caden Templet, and he's 7 years old. He's also battling Burkitt's lymphoma. The Covington resident was paired with the LSU baseball team through Team Impact. Senior case manager Lynn LaRocca says the Tigers have made Caden a part of the team.
Had his own official signing day, just like college athletes have when they're committing to a team coming out of high school.
Caden has been with the team every step of the way, cheering them on as they punch their ticket to the College World Series. However, he will not be joining the team in Omaha, not yet at least. I'm Andrew Greenstein.
A bill allowing pharmacies to sell ivermectin without a prescription is on its way to Governor Jeff Landry for signature. The bill, sponsored by Senator Mike Fessy, permits adults to purchase the drug under a standing order from the Louisiana Department of Health.
Senate Bill 19 is basically just giving ivermectin where the pharmacist can give it over the counter.
LRN.
Word's out. Chef John is at it again this Father's Day. Dad eats free at Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville. We're celebrating Dad with a special menu just for him and the family. Choose from stuffed catfish, tender prime sliced beef, juicy stuffed pork loin, or blackened chicken pasta. It's dine-in only from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and tables will fill fast, so plan to come early. Dad dines free when he's joined by his family. So whether you call him Dad, Papa, or Papi, bring him to Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville.
Well, good morning. Our Wednesday, a partly sunny day. Afternoon highs near 91. That heat index, watch out for that, getting close to the century mark, about 97 for the afternoon high. So we've got a pretty good shot of some showers or thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. We're saying a 50% chance. Now tonight, chance of rain up to a 60% chance. Overnight lows down to 72. And tomorrow, a 60% chance of afternoon showers or thunderstorms as well. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 71 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, we are back with our second hour of Talkback here on your Wednesday morning. I'm Al Quartermont along with Trish Lala. Stephen had to run out. He'll be back in a little bit.
He's doing one of his things. He's doing an interview with our last guest that he'll have up on our KSYL and Cenla Broadcasting page after a while, which is what is great about having him here now and having him running all of the news and all the topics for
Yeah, I mean, the benefit to Central Louisiana as a community is just going to be immeasurable.
Absolutely. It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yep.
Well, so last night we noticed, because I do still turn on our local news just to see what's going on around here a little bit, you know. KLB had nothing local on.
Really?
I don't know what, I get my TV through YouTube TV. We turned it on and we were sitting, I was like, wait a second, why are we seeing the weather from New York? It was a New York broadcast, and then it went to the national news, and then it went back. Like, there was never, you know, you have the local, then you have the national, then you have the local again.
Yeah.
At least for me, I don't know for anybody else, none of it was there. So, you know, this is the thing. We talk a lot about, where do people go get their news, and is it actual news? Is it just somebody out there recording what's going on with their own slant to it, or is it somebody that is doing it from a journalistic standpoint? And, you know, look who he was trained by. He's so it's a great opportunity for us to have some real local news that's out there in the community, you know, bringing it to our listeners and our viewers now.
And the thing is, all of the skills that he's developed through the years come together in this opportunity where it's kind of like we're just saying, go do your thing. And he's having a blast with it. He did a report yesterday on the first day of Pafford EMS operating the ambulance services in Rapides Parish. He did one on the closing of the Logan's Roadhouse Steaks. And then to just kind of give you guys a sample, and we'll go to the phones in just a second, here's his report he did on the Pineville Expressway situation. Take a listen. Oops, hang on a second. Let me get that audio.
I'm actually here walking on the side of the Pineville Expressway. You know, if you drive down the expressway, you're going too fast. Everybody does it. Even the mayor of Pineville says everybody does it. They know it, but it looks like the speed limit could be changing. All right, so it's hot out there, so I'm going to sit in this car and tell you exactly what's happening. Louisiana DOTD Alexandria office has put in the necessary paperwork to increase the speed limit on the Pineville Expressway all the way to the Donahue Ferry Bridge from 50 miles an hour, increasing it to 60 miles per hour.
Well, DOTD is looking at a study right now on Highway 167, and they're going to be getting back with us. They might be increasing the speed there, but it's all about safety. So whatever DOTD recommends, we're going to have to live with.
I think that's going to be great, man. It's kind of like a speed truck coming down off the bridge with the decrease of speed. So I think that'll help the city out a lot.
Yeah, even the mayor and everyone's like, we know everyone goes faster down there. Might as well change it. You do it too, huh?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie with the speed demon.
Awesome. All right, so what happens next? Well, the Alexandria office for DOTD has sent the necessary paperwork over to Baton Rouge at the headquarters to get it for final approval. No timeline on when that is happening, but it looks like the steps are going in the right direction and everything is in motion.
So I mean, how great is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, there's so much that we can do during this 2-hour time frame that we're here, but to start adding that in, and then to have him as that constant here. I mean, yes, we've had our juggling of hosts for the last how long here, to have that consistency here. And I think that between the two of you, it's just going to be amazing. So we're very, very excited for it.
As our earlier caller said, we'll miss you being part of it, but I feel like we'll still have you on fairly regularly. So
I'm just a couple buildings away if you need me.
That's true. That's true. All right. We have the phones lit up. Let's jump on those. Good morning. You are on Talkback.
Yeah, some of y'all might remember back in the 60s and 70s, the word was plastics, and it was H2O capturing up water in plastic bottles, and how has that turned out for our bodies and for oceans and the streams? And so I think I would beware, and this company says they're only using the other facilities, and you can be, if you drive the car and kill somebody in a 7-Eleven, you're still an accessory to the fact, aren't you? So I would just look at the vested interest before I took their word on everything. And thank you for letting me say that.
Absolutely. And that's the point I was trying to make earlier is I can see why people have a healthy skepticism, because people who have lived in Louisiana have absolutely felt the effects. I mean, you're talking about Cancer Alley, you talk about all these things that people are just, they have an inherent trepidation about, and it's understandable. So It's whether you believe the science is safe on this. And from the meeting Monday, you had a very convincing scientist who doesn't believe that it is. So it's kind of like the entire issue of climate change. You have scientists that believe 1,000% that climate change is real. But there are a lot more voices coming up now that are saying, hold on, not so fast.
And, to have them on hopefully next week, again, it's not so much of the SunGas thing, because this could be happening whether they're here or not.
That's right.
Like, this is a separate
it already is
issue.
happening.
Yeah, it is happening. And it's a completely separate issue from their company.
When Chuck Owen was in the DNR hearing, or the Natural Resources Committee hearing, he made reference to some kind of wells that are already available in Southwest Louisiana that he said if the DEQ would get its act together, they could utilize those for carbon sequestration. And I can't remember what specific types of wells he was referring to there. So, but it goes back to the entire, the overarching issue here is about climate change and the willingness of governments to put money into technologies that they feel will reduce the carbon that is getting into the air. But, at the same time, the natural things seem to take care of a lot of that too, i.e. trees. So,
and I'm not an expert on any of it, so.
Yeah. So, but I understand why people are concerned. Let's continue with callers. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Hey,
all right. I tuned in too late. I don't know if he gave specifics, but look, I've worked in the oil and gas industry for over 30 years. You got to be careful where you're injecting stuff.
Yes.
And that was, it's only CO2. Okay, let me put you in a room and up the CO2 percentage to 15%, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And that was Monday at the meeting that they had.
I missed it. That's just down the road from me there at Philadelphia Baptist Church.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they showed, and actually this was legitimate news coverage from some of the Mississippi TV stations about an area where there was a carbon dioxide leak, and the things that happened to the people. Even the emergency responders trying to get to the people were having a hard time because their vehicles weren't working because there wasn't enough oxygen coming into the engines.
Exactly. See, we use what we call nitrogen jobs offshore, and I've actually watched, and it was funny. Anybody that's done them multiple times knows you have to flare when you go into a reservoir with nitrogen, you have to flare all that, what you estimate off, plus another additional 25% of what you think you put in before you start using natural fuel gas on your platform again. And I've seen them go, we can't get the generators to crank, and I don't understand. Well, duh.
Right.
Well, speaking of, and I've pounded this drum before, I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Bayou Insider released an article May the 8th. USGS confirms major oil and gas reserve beneath Acadiana, what it means for Louisiana. And it's the Austin and Travis Peak Formation. It runs from East Texas across Acadia and central Louisiana over to the Mississippi Delta. Estimated total recoverable natural gas, 3.35 trillion cubic feet.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, that's just one right there, one point that they're estimating in Louisiana. So riddle me this one. Why are we burning coal at Clico instead of a cogen plant with a couple of big turbines? Well, I noticed we've got a couple over there at the city power plant, but they hardly ever run them. And I don't know if you know what a cogen is, but what you do is usually it's a big turbine engine that runs on natural gas, and then they use the waste heat from the exhaust to boil water or some other heat media chemical and run steam turbines, and they phase match it. So they can get as much as 55 to 60% efficiency on those. And we have natural gas burns so clean in the oil and gas industry, we change our oil and our gas turbines once a year. It's like cars that run on propane. They run much cleaner. If we ran our city buses on compressed natural gas, you talk about clean. You don't even need a catalytic converter.
Wow.
Now, there's an energy density issue, but that can be overcome because, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we use central station refueling on the city buses?
That I don't know.
Well, you don't want just any yahoo dealing with 3,000 to 4,000 PSI natural gas.
That's true.
to refuel.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it burns so clean, they could probably change the oil in the buses every 120 days, maybe.
And what you're talking about, too, with this potential for what's underground, that was one of the points that the geologist who spoke on Monday was saying, is that this carbon capture, holding that in the ground, has the potential to disrupt the oil and gas industry in terms of future exploration, and even mineral rights that property owners might hold could be impacted if, for example, in the future they say, well, we can't access that because we don't want to take the chance of disrupting this block of CO2 that's being held. So,
and are they planning on injecting it as a super cool liquid or as a gas?
I don't remember what they said on that. So.
Well, we've used water injection offshore to help float oil out. So you just basically into known reservoirs. But look, this stuff could migrate.
That was what you're saying, yes.
We have wells offshore that, had played out, and they don't pee in it. They do it. They just plug them, and they maintain the lease. And you come back in 10 years and wait, all of a sudden it's got oil again. Where did that come from? That happened in South Marsh Island and a few other places. And there's a really good book out there called The Deep Hot Biosphere, and everybody ought to read it, because what's the second most common molecule in the universe? Or
second most common molecule?
Yeah, the most common one is hydrogen.
Okay. Nitrogen?
Second. No. CH4, aka methane.
Huh. Okay.
Also known as?
Yeah. I've heard that oil actually can repopulate itself. Is that a good way?
Well, there's a theory that there's a huge amount of deep, and that's the book. The book talks about it. I've got the book, and I think there may be a PDF online of it.
Okay.
But there's more to this. I mean, we're just now discovering a lot of stuff.
Right.
We've got 4G surveys. I mean, not 4G. It's like a 3D survey, but it's a little more enhanced.
Sure.
But before we start injecting a bunch of CO2 in there, because somebody says, oh, well, we can't hold it in the atmosphere. And the other thing is, too, how about we just plant some more trees? What's a tree?
That was a suggestion that was made Monday. And there's even a particular kind of plant that they could be, he was saying, planting along the coast that has like the highest level of carbon absorption. So I can't remember what that was. But anyway, thank you for your insight. We always appreciate your calls.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep. We need to take a break. More calls coming up.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
From America's #1 travel radio show, I'm Robert Carey.
And I'm Mary Carey with today's RM World Travel Minute.
You know, having your flight canceled can be one of the most disruptive aspects of travel.
It's one of the reasons we encourage you to try and book your flights directly with the airline, because if you use a third party, you're going to have to contact them to handle any rebooking or address refunds, and that's not always easy.
No, it isn't. Per the U.S. Department of Transportation, you're entitled to a refund if the airline cancels a flight, regardless of the reason, but that doesn't help when all you want to do is get to where you're going.
Having loyalty status with an airline will be very helpful, as you'll have a special contact number that you can call, plus you're going to get prioritized over others.
Well, at least we hope we do. We also encourage you to fly the first flight of the day, as they generally do go, but if your canceled flight requires you to overnight somewhere, it is trickier to get airlines to pay for that, as they'll only do it if the cancellations is their fault and not weather-related, air traffic control issues, or something else that happens.
Exactly. So, all right, you're going to find more travel info, or you can connect with us anytime at rmworldtravel.com.
Until we're back with you again, safe and happy travels out there, everyone.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back. Our phones are still lit
Oh,
up.
no, those blinking lights over there. They haven't stopped at all.
Stephen is back with us. BOM Bank Talk line is 442-8255. And let's take another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah. Remember the Cowboy Town project?
Mm-hmm. That was the Sun Drop. Yeah.
SunGas is basically proposing to do more or less the same thing that the Cowboy Town project involved. And all of these projects have to have some sort of federal input.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are probably a bunch of suckers that have put money up investing in it to cover I suspect that those guys that came in to talk today are probably not getting anything less than $100K a year. And if a project collapses for whatever reason, they've collected whatever they've collected and go on to the next pie in the sky project. And, that's the way the world works. But I attended that same meeting you did, and only a fool would endorse carbon dioxide sequestration as it's proposed now. And those guys with SunDrop can't have a project if they don't have carbon dioxide sequestration.
Right.
So if you got money in that company, you better sell your stock as soon as you can.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts on that. I was doing research about the company itself. It does seem that they've had other projects, not so much here in the United States, but around the world. So I don't see them as being a fly-by-night kind of company, but I do think your point about... I'm sorry?
Not necessarily a fly-by-night, but grabbing at what appears to be glittering stars or straws.
Well, the government money, yeah, you're absolutely right. And, but it's not just companies like SunGas. It's even your big oil and gas companies are also jumping into this because that money is available to them. So,
well, I listen to them in the same way you do.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, it's like someone once said, people will always do what the government pays them to do. Whether that being people who wouldn't go back to work during the pandemic because they were making more money on unemployment, or people who just in general in our society won't work because they can collect checks, so.
I did understand the fellow to say something to the effect that if we didn't have the project here, the projects would go to places like China.
Yeah.
China's probably the number one CO2 producer on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And, a fool and his money are soon parted.
Hey, thanks for the call this morning. We always appreciate it. Yes, sir. So, and I think maybe the point he was trying to make with China was the fact that you don't want projects like that there because they're not going to care about the carbon levels.
And again, it's just another industry. I mean, how many industries here have been hurt by them all heading over to China?
Speaking of China,
I grew up in the shoe industry, and that was the period of time. Yeah, I mean, everything.
The shoe industry?
Yeah, my grandparents.
Were you like making Nikes in your basement or what?
So do you remember during the 70s and 80s, all of those shoes that had the natural crepe rubber soles on them?
Vaguely.
They were very, very popular back then. But I mean, that was the company that my grandparents had up in Ohio. Yeah. And then slowly but surely that, and then top lifts for women's high-heeled shoes, the plastic that goes on the bottom of them. But then China gears up and starts producing the same stuff for how much cheaper. And there goes, American companies there. So and you see that over and over and over. So
that's why you had a Trans Am in high school. One of those kids.
A Rolls Royce shoe money.
Back to the Trans Am. Right?
I get the trepidation for a lot of people when it comes to these big announcements.
Right.
We've had a lot of
just
nothing burgers. You talk about the IP mill site, seems cursed the past couple of years.
Revolution aluminum.
Oh man, that was an interesting time for sure. So that was a big show game.
All of that.
I did, yes.
You were here,
yeah. So
speaking of China, President Trump just posted to Truth Social, our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me.
Oh, wow.
Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied up front by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
In all caps, by the way.
That's his new favorite sign out on Truth.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah, I know.
It's like he's sending memos,
On Truth Social.
Let's take one more call before the break. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. And I apologize if this question has already been answered. I've been bouncing back and forth to trying to watch the security cameras, which has been a treat this morning. But a lot of dummies in the world. But anyway, did he ever answer, did either one of those PR guys ever answered, I think it was Dave who asked the question, a simple yes or no? If the sequestration deal does not go through, are they still going to build their plant or not? And I heard him say something about, we're building an office. Well, you can put an Ahern building out there with a telephone in and you got an office. Did he ever say yes or no on that?
I just talked to him downstairs for our online reporting, and I asked him that question. He basically told me, he goes, okay, if the Vernon site is not allowed to you take our carbon or capture our carbon, maybe we'll find something else here in the central Louisiana. But I was like, okay, if there is no carbon sequestration in Sinlaw, is it going to happen? And he goes, probably not. And we'll have to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
See, that's what I hate about, that's one thing I hate about college, is they teach these people how not to answer a question. He beat around the bush and washed windows and everything else in the world except answer the question. And I applaud you for sticking with him and making him answer the question. And that's what I was getting out of it. That plant has been talked about for too long, and all of a sudden now we're going to do it, and sequestration is coming on at the same time. Look, I'm 77 years old. I ain't the brightest bulb in the world, but I ain't stupid either. So,
and there's a lot of information coming.
Cameras got more idiots.
They were very receptive with us today.
They were what?
They were very receptive and answered our questions today, and we do appreciate that, though.
Well, yeah, they do that, but they know how to not answer the question, how to answer it without answering it. Beat around the bush, just like he did. He beat around with Dave's question and went with window washing and all kind of other stuff. And I never did get, like I say, I ain't the best in the world in hearing, and I wear hearing aids and all that stuff. But I never did hear a yes or a no. But you did, and you stuck to him, which I applaud. But if you even, just like you said, you actually asked him and pinned him up against the wall and asked him the question directly. And what did you say? He hesitated because he did not want to answer the question directly.
Well, we'll have that interview on Facebook tonight.
Have what?
We'll have that interview on Facebook later today, and we'll play it on the radio tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's good. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We need to take a break, guys, and we'll come back with more of your calls right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Underlying U.S. inflation rose in May by less than forecast for the 4th month in a row, suggesting companies are finding ways to limit how much of a higher cost from tariffs they pass through to customers. The Consumer Price Index, stripping out the often volatile food and energy categories, rose 0.1% from April, and from a year ago, in May, it was up 2.8%. President Donald Trump said a trade framework with China was completed that included an agreement for Beijing to supply rare earths upfront, as well as access for Chinese students at American universities. The president commented a day after marathon negotiations between the U.S. and China concluded in London. General Motors says it will invest about $4 billion over the next 2 years in its U.S. plants. The company says plants in Michigan, Kansas, and Tennessee will expand production of several of GM's most popular gas and electric vehicles. Futures point to a higher open. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Sinla's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt in your mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Freedom from drug addiction happens in NA meetings. It is possible to stop using drugs, and they can help. Call Narcotics Anonymous at 1-585-DON'T-USE or visit their website at larna.org for more information. Well, good morning. Our Wednesday, a partly sunny day. Afternoon highs near 91. That heat index, watch out for that, getting close to the century mark, about 97 for the afternoon high. We've got a pretty good shot of some showers of thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. We're saying a 50% chance. Now tonight, chance of rain up to a 60% chance. Overnight lows down to 72. And tomorrow, 60% chance of afternoon showers of thunderstorms as well. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 73 degrees in Cenla.
Talk back. To take part of the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, we're back and continuing with your phone calls. Did get a message on our Facebook page as well from one of our listeners. Richie says, my current position with a major oil company deals directly with decommissioning facilities that are no longer profitable. These facilities were sold off years ago with the last owner filing for bankruptcy. The assets that were not sold off were turned back over to the original lessee with orders from the federal government to be decommissioned. We're also responsible with the disposal of waste, which is heavily regulated. Our company advisor for this operation is constantly warning of possible civil penalties if it's handled incorrectly. All this background to get to my question, would this carbon sequestration be such a hot topic if everyone with a hand in it heard the threats of civil penalties, including jail time, as much as we are?
Interesting question.
Yeah, good thought. All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hey, this is Will, and I have 3 questions, or statements maybe.
Sure.
First of all, this is not government money. This is your money, my money. And, we lose sight of that, and I thought we were getting back to that with Doge and Elon Musk, but again, this money is not the government's money giveaway, it's ours. Second, why would we want to create an industry that lets China and India off the hook? I mean, they're never going to stop producing or even try to stop polluting with CO2 as long as people are willing to pick up the slack for them. And then 3, why do we have to inject CO2 into the earth? There's great technology out there that turns CO2 into cement-like products and other building materials that would be, I think, welcome in the state if we put up a plant like that.
Interesting thoughts, guys.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see other options, I'm sure.
Right.
Anyway, 3 thoughts for you to think about.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So, and I think I love though that people are now in the discussion and paying attention, and
and again, it's figuring out where to get your information from.
Right.
Because you go back to like during COVID times when everybody got all their medical advice from their friend on Facebook. Again, it's not about finding out what this is from some friend on Facebook. It's actually doing some research and figuring that out. And what are some of the alternatives? Like I never had heard of that, like he just mentioned, but who knows? There could be some great alternatives.
Yeah, it's just like the medical discussions we have is such a specialized topic.
Yeah.
And we're all just jumping in the middle of it when we're trying to talk with people who have degrees in this. So it's a difficult thing.
And we've all said none of us are experts in any of this. We're just here for the discussion and to bring the discussion out.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's take some more calls. Good morning. You are on Talkback.
Good morning. Really enjoy y'all's input each and every day. I understood the gentleman to say on the gentlemen that you had on last week, the CEO,
right,
and then the gentleman y'all had on today basically said that if their product would not be viable to produce and be worth, as you pointed out, junk, if they were not able to do this sequestration. And the thing is it's already going on in the state. Okay, that's what I don't understand. Everybody's getting all jacked up sideways about. It's already going on. It's already happening. All they're doing is they're going to somebody that is a provider of this service that's already providing the services to other companies in the state of Louisiana. So they're not expanding on what they do. They have to have that service like a waste service, pick up your garbage every week at your house. That service is already provided. So you contract with whomever to come pick up your trash. And that's basically what they're doing is they're having a company that's going to take this and move it and put it into a facility that's already operational. They're not creating a new. That's the thing that everybody's missing. This is already going on. This is already happening. So do we want everybody saying, well, we don't want that in Louisiana, we don't want it in Louisiana, we don't want to well, do you want the $2.5 billion to go to Mississippi and still they're going to hire a sequestration company that's going to pipe it to Louisiana anyway? I mean, y'all got to, they can't see the forest for the trees here. I really don't understand, but he said on multiple interviews with you, Al, and Trish, that this product would not be viable to sell to whomever they're going to sell it to because of the value would drop so much if they were not able to remove whatever the carbon from whatever. It's above my pay grade, but I think everybody's jumping to conclusions here. It's already going on. They're just, they're just contracting with somebody else to provide the service. But anyway, I really enjoyed the show. Thank you.
And that was kind of the point that I was making too. Everybody's painting them to be the bad guy here.
Right.
When really they're just using a service that is already here.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and he's absolutely right. If they can't get that aspect of the project, then it's not viable for them to go forward.
Yeah.
So
they rely on it. So
all right, we'll take a break. More of your calls. The phones are still lit up. Hang on, guys.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Close your eyes and feel the sun-drenched breeze of southern Spain. From whitewashed villages to golden beaches, this is where history meets passion. Moorish palaces, flamenco night, and unforgettable tapas. This small group, escorted by Annie and Christine in March 2026, will visit Seville, Cordoba, Granada, Marbella, and more. Join our spectacular Spain tour, beaming with culturally rich and local experiences. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architect.
Have a Class A or B CDL? Want to drive a local route every day? If you said yes, then you're who we're looking for. Waste Connections of Alexandria, Natchitoches, and Lafayette is hiring drivers with CDL license. You'll get competitive wages, paid vacations, a company stock program, a 401k with company match, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, and a local route with you at home with your family every night. Apply now at wasteconnections.com/employment. That's wasteconnections.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
Shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
You couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer in men under 50 and the second leading cause of cancer death for women under 50. The American College of Radiology urges you to get screened starting at age 45. Now, Medicare and insurance companies are required to cover not only colonoscopy, but less invasive exams like virtual colonoscopy. Talk to your doctor about your options. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org/virtual CT.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Talk back. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, we are back here on Talkback. It's Al, it's Trish.
Al got distracted by Wisconsin lore.
I was going to say other topics.
Yeah. Our breaks are fun. Greg Walker always said we should have our breaks on the air.
Yeah, we probably should.
And then we'd get kicked off the air. All right, more calls on the BMO Bank Talk line. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Yeah, what I think that last caller missed was, okay, they're already doing some of these projects and everything, but what they want to do is build some new pipelines and go across people's property using the eminent domain. Well, from what I've read a lot about all this, and then a lot of what Mr. LeBlanc pointed out, it wasn't really news to me, but it just reinforced what I've read. CO2 pipelines are very much more dangerous than natural gas pipelines. And there is I would not have a problem with them putting a natural gas pipeline across my property, but no way do I want a CO2 pipeline. He said there's no way to absolutely keep all moisture out of a pipeline. Well, moisture in a gas pipeline is no big deal. You get moisture in a CO2 pipeline, it forms carbonic acid, it corrodes the pipe, and they are going to rupture. And then a natural gas pipeline, when they leak, it just leaks. A CO2 pipeline, because that CO2 is compressed, when it goes, it blows sky high, and you got freezing carbon dioxide, and it kills everything for a area all around your the pipeline. There's no way I'd want a CO2 pipeline. And I very much understand why those people don't want those pipelines across their property. And there's no way they should use eminent domain. That's not you're building them for a private company.
Right. I mean, you're making some really good points too. So.
And I was at the meeting. I was the one to say I was very glad to meet you. I've been kind of a fan for a long time. I'm the guy that came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed meeting you too and talking with you. So he also said that he thinks I should have been a doctor because I remember stuff. But
you do remember stuff.
But I only remember stuff about baseball from the 70s and 80s.
But the knowledge of baseball, that's what I keep saying. Like, this stuff just comes pouring out of him. I'm like, how do you even have all this knowledge?
You know that 70s sports Twitter page or whatever?
That's Al. That is Al.
That's
Al's
his mind
behind that,
encyclopedia.
right?
Yeah.
That's actually him running that, maybe.
Other times, Al's like, did you hear about this? And I'll be like, yeah, you told me 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, that fascinates me. His memory for all kind of
it's the long-term memory.
Baseball trivia, and
you know how your wife says selective hearing? He has selective memory.
There you go.
I'm gonna have so much fun having him on the show.
Yes, you are. I can't wait. I can't wait. Of course, he'll be the one over there controlling the mics. He'll just turn you off when he needs to.
That's true. So, well, thank you, sir. I always appreciate your calls, and it was great meeting you. And thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's get another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback. Are they still there? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, you're on. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about that carbon sequestration.
Yes, sir.
And what I want to say about it is, I am scared of it, and I'm definitely against it because of the fact that all roads, like the old saying, all roads lead to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
All roads lead back to a carbon tax. This was. I think it came out of a backroom meeting some way of how to raise revenue, and this is one of the plans executed, and it's already in place on most of your utility bills and everything. Service contracts and things like that is under a fuel adjustment cost. So there's, they say that, carbon has no end product. So there's nothing that the taxpayer is going to get back. All they're going to get is an inflation of their bills. You watch your electricity bills, your water bills, any kind of service contract bill that you have on air conditioners or any kind of service contract that you have with anyone is going to inflate. And that's what I think about it. And that's what I have to say. I'm definitely afraid of it because I think it all goes back to a carbon tax. And that way, the taxpayer can pay out of their pocket and not even realize that they're paying for something. They're just paying a bill. They're paying the bottom line of the bill that they get every month.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that a fuel adjustment cost. I guarantee you, if somebody was to do a deep dive, they would find out and trace it all the way back to a dark room somewhere where some revenue hounds and politically minded folks had got together and come up with a deal to raise revenue. That's my thoughts, and I do wish that some reporter would really get down into that fact of it, and I bet it can be traced all the way back to carbon tax.
We're all looking right here.
Yeah. I'll stay on it for sure.
Thank you for the call. It was back in like 2009-ish, maybe, when I first started hearing about like carbon credits.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a little research, and it was, the company that was going to be managing carbon credits.
Right.
And the money that goes to that was actually a friend of Al Gore's. And it's like, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yep. No matter what side of this argument you're on, I think it's great that the community is paying attention to something.
Right.
Sometimes things like this just go completely under the rug. Something besides Olive Garden.
Something besides Olive Garden.
Yeah, and if it affects your homes, if it affects your property, it's an important issue. And kudos to everyone out there for paying attention to it. So,
well, that's the thing. Things that affect your property. I mean, that's what I was up in D.C. all last week for. We'll get to talk about all that tomorrow. But I mean, there's so much this is why people get up in arms about it, is because it does affect their property.
Poor Trish, I feel like for 2 days you've been trying to talk about D.C. and we've had other topics.
I don't have to talk about it. There's plenty of other topics we've had, that's for sure.
We definitely want to talk about that.
Anyway.
So, all right, we're back after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners, the fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Broker Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
I truly believe, just as God assigns angels to us,
it's the unknown.
I think the devil, and he puts a vulgar twist on it,
it's the unexpected.
I think he assigns demons to us.
It's the unbelievable.
And when those demons are assigned, they get to know everything about that person.
Coast to coast AM, late nights.
As crazy as that may sound, I truly believe there's something to it.
Overnights, it's Coast to Coast AM on Talk Radio 970 KSYL.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
There's no better description than to say St. Jude is a place of hope. My name is Lindsay. I'm alive today because of this incredible hospital and the generosity of so many who wanted to support it.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, we're back for our last segment of the morning. Fantastic callers today. We've got a few more. Let's go to those. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I had a caller a minute ago that was talking about the integrity of pipelines. We used to run smart pigs. It's just a computer that we launch into the pipes. It tells you everything what's going on the inside that pipe, corrosion, pitting, or whatever. I would hope this company would do that. Since it's such corrosive material, they would be shipping down the pipeline.
Interesting. Yeah.
There's a smart pig. It's something to see. It tells you everything.
Well, I've always heard that pigs are smart.
Well, yeah, they are. But this is just a computer they launched through that pipeline. It's really neat.
Okay. Well, good idea.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I read that they will be doing extensive testing.
Yeah.
Which would probably be mandated, I'm sure. So.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Another subject. Do any of y'all know when we're going to start calling that Army base to the west of us by its original proper name?
The president said he would.
According to the president, I would say anytime.
Good.
Yep.
I'm curious what the cost would be of the flip-flopping, too.
I know. I thought about that, too. The cost of having to go back. Did they save all the old signs, you think?
Well, I mean, they have the Fort Johnson up on North MacArthur. Like, there would be tons of signs they'd have to replace. And, you know, replacing a government sign is no cheap thing. So.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I remember it's 2 or 3 years back when this was starting, and y'all talking to the mayor of Leesville. I don't know if it's a man in there now or one before him, but anyway, he seemed to be all for it. So I asked him a question I knew the answer to. I said, who is the city of Leesville named after? Or a couple of seconds of silence. He said, Robert E. Lee.
That's very good.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I always goes back. I don't call it nothing, no disrespect to the other man, but I still call it by Fort Polk. And I bet most people do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ingrained. Yep.
All right.
I agree.
Well, anyways,
hey, thank you for the change of topic there.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate the call. The president was speaking at Fort Bragg yesterday.
Right.
He mentioned that they're restoring all of the names of the former forts: Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
Right. It's a tough subject because when we were doing the statues subject, like in 2015, 16, there's different ways to look at it. Like, I didn't know who Polk was. I don't know who this and that was. But maybe having a statue in front of a courthouse could be a different thing. It's just case-by-case scenario, in my opinion.
I agree.
Another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. Let me drop another rabbit hole.
Okay.
That I've been looking at here. It's just something I picked up on a few months ago. There was a small article that come out that said, expect your utility bills to increase in the next few years. And reason being is because all these AI facilities that are coming online are going to require 80% of the electricity that's being produced now. Okay? So us as citizenship, we're going to have to pay for other ways of getting our electricity because they're not, once this beast right here is kicked off and cranked up and gets rolling, it's going to be like that plant on Feed Me Seymour, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be number one, and we're going to be number two. So if we barely got enough electricity now, and there's rolling blackouts every year, and it's going to require 80% just to keep these facilities running, that's going to leave us with 20%. How are we going to work this quagmire out?
Wow. Yeah.
Anybody got any ideas? They're going to build one of those things right here at Boyce, right off the interstate. You know, they got the other one started up around, around Calhoun up there, around Monroe?
Mm-hmm.
That $19 billion facility up there?
Yep.
So, I don't know. Food for thought, people.
Yeah.
They're going to pull the life support out of our arms, and plug it into a machine because that thing's going to be a whole lot more important than we are.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for the call today. We appreciate it. We're out of time.
Wake up, America.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Wow. What an amazing calls throughout the day today. So we'll do it again tomorrow.
That's right.
I'm so shocked someone says you had a good memory. I'm just floored by that.
Wait, who said that?
I don't know. Who are you?
We'll see if he remembers tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. Me, Trish, and Steven. So
You've been listening to
Talk with you then.
Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM